The time is at hand.
From Williamson, West Virginia, the gateway to the crackheads, this is In Dark Places, random UFO stories. When I was around the age of 7, my family moved to a new townhouse across the state from where we previously lived. A lot of the houses in this town were super old. The one we moved in was around 105 years old at the time. My sister and I slept in a bunk bed on the second floor that was pushed against a wall that faced the one window in our room. It was a pretty big window that reached from around 1 foot off the floor to a couple feet from the ceiling. I don't remember if we had a curtain there or not, but this night I guess we chose to leave the window open and unblocked. It was dark out and past our bedtime, so my sister and I were both supposed to be sleeping. I wasn't tired, and apparently she wasn't either, so we both just sat there in our beds and stared out the window. We both swear to this day there was a bright orb that flew up to our window, about the size of a basketball, maybe a little smaller. It paused for about 3 seconds, and then it flew up past the window where it couldn't be seen anymore. We both said the same thing. Did you see that? Neither of us slept that night. It was surreal. I still don't know how to explain it, aside from something paranormal. It was clearly a ball of light and not someone shining a light into our window or the headlights of a car moving past. It's been about 18 years since that happened, and we can both recall it as clear as day. In 2024, on winter solstice and full moon, on the shores of Lake Titicaca in Puno, Peru, I had my first and only UFO experience. There were 4 orbs, a bit larger than the moon, gray, translucent, up and behind the clouds, but not too far away. They followed each other around in a playful, organic fashion, sort of like a figure-8 motion. After 10 minutes or so, they aligned perfectly, 4 in a row, and then shot upward and out of sight at incredible speed. This happened in 2012. Some friends and I had a spot where we usually hung out on the slopes of Santa Barbara Castle, Alicante, Spain. It was a sunny summer day around 4 p.m. 4 friends and I were at the spot when we saw an object that we could never classify. Personally, it changed my life. One of my friends, who is a total conspiracy nut, was watching the seagulls that sometimes hover in the air against the current while watching their nests. His friend is blind as a bat and never used to bring his glasses, so he saw something that seemed strange to him and asked out loud if what he was seeing was a seagull. When I looked, what I saw was a completely black spear with another exactly identical but much smaller spear orbiting the larger one. I have to say that my eyesight is bad too. Hey, I feel you. Mine too. I think it's my phone. I always stare at my phone. That's what I'm blaming it on anyway. Those blue light things from the phone. I think they screwed up my eyes. But anyway, before I get glasses, I should finish this story. But I was wearing my glasses at the moment. It was descending right over our heads at a constant but very slow pace. It was maybe 20 to 25 meters, about 65 to 80 feet up, and it was roughly the size of a car. When I saw it, I was puzzled for a second. My brain couldn't identify the object, and then I went into shock when I spotted the blue sky through the gap created during the orbit of the smaller spear around the large one. I swear to you that at that moment I started screaming. Wow, my heart rate skyrocketed. That object must have been between 4 and 7 meters, 13 to 23 feet in diameter, and it made absolutely no noise, nor did it give off any kind of smell or shine. The moment I screamed, all my friends looked up and went crazy. It's important to say that 2 of them are extremely skeptical. Curiously, right at that moment I screamed, I noticed how it suddenly changed course, heading northeast while ascending at a speed of about 15 to 30 kilometers an hour, 9 to 18 miles an hour. At the same time, it changed shape, and, or so it seemed to me, the 2 objects joined into one, forming a silhouette similar to a seagull, but totally black, and with a deformed wing. It only flapped the left wing from my point of view. The other one didn't. One of the skeptical friends looked vaguely, declaring that that was a balloon, and we were tripping out. The other skeptical colleague, the rest, and I were staring, speechless. The interesting thing about this is that when the first colleague looked a second time, he clearly stated it was a seagull. It was about 25 meters away, and that we were delusional. Ergo, he confused a balloon with a seagull. I have never brought it up to him or told him this because when I do, he gets mad. Moving on, the object kept moving farther and farther away at the same speed until it disappeared in the distance toward the sun, toward the San Juan de Alicante lighthouse, becoming an indistinguishable dot. It must have traveled about 5 miles. I will always regret not telling one of my friends to take out their phone and record it in HD, because we had good phones with good cameras, but the shock was such that we didn't think about it until hours later. It didn't even cross our minds. Once it was gone, the atmosphere went back to normal, leaving behind a strange and inexplicable memory, because I know that whatever it was, it is not something you usually see in a person's daily life. My friend, his dad, and I are traveling to Mount Buller to go skiing in 2002. We were halfway there, and it was probably close to 7 or 8 p.m. It was pretty dark. We also knew Mars was going to be quite visible that night. We convinced my friend's dad to stop shop so we could have a look. We got out and found Mars, a little reddish glowing star. My friend also said he could see it. The thing was, they were in completely different locations. Soon enough, we realized that there were a lot of red glowing stars all around us. We thought at first, are they balloons, helicopters? But there was more than 20 of them. So who would be flying balloons at night, or in the middle of the country? They started getting brighter and then arranged themselves, some moving backward and then forward, then some in circular patterns. There was no sound from these things. Quite soon after, they started disappearing, and before we knew it, they were all gone. Needless to say, we quickly got back in the car and got my friend's dad to drive. Still can't explain it to this day. I was on a wildfire just south of Dugway Proving Grounds in Utah. We were in fire rigs driving to the incident area, 4 trucks in close convoy, when we heard helicopters. 8 black military choppers escorted us in formation for like 10 miles. We assumed they were doing drills and using us as a fake target practice or something. A little while later, we were parked and about to start hiking to the fire when suddenly a thin column of smoke shoots probably about 200 feet into the sky. It was a good mile away, but the concussion was pretty significant when it hit us, and the noises were still ridiculously loud. We thought it was probably no big deal. We knew we were near a strike zone. A good 5 minutes later, an aircraft like nothing I have ever seen flew by us at maybe 500 feet. It was black and sort of rectangular, but with fins and wheels on the underside. It was moving pretty slow, and it was dead silent, so I have to assume it was some sort of stealth glider. It sounds ridiculous, but immediately it reminded me of a huge flying Batmobile, Tim Burton era. After that, some military personnel got on our radio frequency and instructed us to leave the area immediately. When our crew chief asked who it was and why they signed off, and the incident commander, the guy in charge of managing the entire situation, came on radios and said that we were evacuating the area. They sent us to a completely different fire about 100 miles away to the south and never told us why, except that it was higher priority, which was BS. It was already out when we got there. We just assisted crews in the mop-up operation. The thing that still confuses me about this is that if the Army didn't want us to see that stuff, or if it was dangerous, then why didn't they keep us clear of the area in the first place? Either a communications breakdown or they now had a situation going down and had to get us out of there without warning. That's about all the creepy UFO stories I got for you. I'll see you again with some more in a couple days. Thanks for listening. God bless. From Williamson, West Virginia, the gateway to the crackheads, this is In Dark Places, UFO stories. That's all the UFO stories I got for right now. Hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you again in a couple days with some more. Thanks for listening. God bless.